failed with major repairs. Technical repair report for bidding. Restoration with permit by a fully licensed vendor. Engineer oversight. 3 site visits. Certification with owner liability in lieu of a load test. Load test still may be required by the AHJ.
Fire escape engineers inspect the summary video. I believe this is one too. We have an existing fire escape system here that looks like it hasn't been certified, but work has been done to it. But a lot of original hardware is left behind. So let's go over step by step. Fire escapes must be structurally sound, must be kept painted. As you can see, it has not been kept painted, so we need to take care of that. Must be structurally sound, and they have changed some hardware, but 75%, 50% of this fire escape has had some hardware switch, but nothing else. So let's go on to acceptable and non-acceptable activities. They rebolted all the railings, but they didn't separate it. There's all rust in between the two. Connection into the building, as you can see, undersized. Minimum size of all connections should be at least 1/4. Just a hair undersized, not a big deal, but 5/16. Through bolts into the building look good. This one is actually missing. So we need to verify whether or not it's the length, and it looks like it's the length issue, as you can see here. So welding a fixed point is not recommended unless you have a certified welder. It currently doesn't look like a certified weld. All your spacers are starting to split, as you can see there, photographs of that. So that needs to be addressed, okay? Let's go down, through bolt into the building here, through bolt into the building, so a double through bolt, but only one side, the other side is missing. So we need to address that. It's easily addressed. All the angles are welded 2 by 2. See all the spacers splitting? They always open up, your feet get caught in the side, you'll break your ankles. This angle to the corner, similar to that one over there, undersized. That has to be at least a 3 by 3 by quarter, if not a 4 by 4 by quarter, and you need a brace in the middle just so that there's no buckling or bending on that. Welded joints, can't have a welded joints, not a standard. You have to have a gusset, and you have to have a bolt. The holes are there, as you can see. Somebody didn't know what they were doing. Some bolting there, new bolts, but then, you know, dealing with the cement. Spacer issues, again, rotting spacers. Original hardware now. From here down, looks like all original hardware. No new hardware. Rust jacking in the connections, going down backwards. Spacer issues, original hardware, rust jacking. Look at all that rust. Okay, look at that. Then these tend to be the spacers on the tread. A lot of rust jacking on the top. So all these top treads have rusted, built very badly many years ago. But these are ready to shift this way, not drop. Okay, coming down, some cement, paint. So rust jacking on the top of these treads. Original hardware underneath, as you can see, pretty tight. So if you want to leave the original hardware, you can, and we can load test it. Otherwise, there is a disclaimer of liability back to the ownership. Okay, original hardware. So this fire escape looks like it was never touched. Okay, see these fans going on? This moist hot air is affecting your fire escapes. So you can't do anything about it other than increase your maintenance on your fire escapes, because moist air is going to cause rust. You can't have welded corners. You can't have continuations like this with welds. This needs a gusset with bolts to negate that. Somebody smashed into this piece here. This is a wobbly, see how wobbly it is? I'm just wobbling it right now. I can actually wobble the whole thing. Not cool. Needs to be secured. Bad welds, rust behind. No clips, no nothing. Treads, spacers. You're going to see that, you know, the tops of these are all rotted out, as the photographs will show. Rust jacking in the stringer clips. These are all the treads from underneath, as you can see. They're not too bad. Original hardware, though, we need to load test. But there is some hammer testing. But again, this is definitely going to need engineer oversight. On this one, got a bollard here, sitting on this slab. How it ties in, look at all the rust jacking inside there. Look at all the rust jacking sitting inside there. Okay, so this whole angle, just to make up a parking space, you know, you can literally wiggle this whole thing. It's not even tight, look. This whole fire escape is just loose. Improper seating, it's just no foundation. So it's here, but it needs this is definitely going to need engineer oversight. All right, so right now the fire escape does not pass inspection. There's the sticker that says it did not pass inspection. Needs a full paint job, so 100% structural, 100% on the paint, and then this fire escape can be certified. Any questions? Fire escape engineers, 866-649-0333. Fire escape engineers inspect the summary video. Here we are on the rear of Fenway 22. Existing fire escape looks like it has not been maintained. All original hardware. So the fire escape does have lead paint, some spacers. See the spacers here, and that's typical of all these spacers. They usually rot from the inside out, so gratings need to be reinforced. So that's a major split right there. As you can see, the spacers, some welded connections need to be backed up with bolts. Rust jacking inside some of these connections, which is typical of a fire escape this old. So then it goes to this side, a little bit of cement spalling, but not a lot, and then it converts over to the dividing line, which is here to there. So I'm going to look up. Same thing, you can see bracket. It's definitely going to need some structural. The connections, nothing's ever been done to this fire escape. So in order for us to load test it, or changing all the bolts eliminates the load test. Due to the red paint here, that's an indication that there's lead-based paint. Anything older than 78 has lead base, so no welding of any kind, and you need an EPA renovator's license to deal with this fire escape. So some cement work, as you can see here, and I'll do some additional connections, and I'll do some additional pictures from above. But no evidence of any maintenance on this, and rust jacking apparent. So 100% structural, 100% on the paint, on just the rear of 22 Fenway. Any questions, fire escape engineers? Fire escape engineers, we're here on the rear of 22, the Fenway. Existing fire escape system, never been refurbished. Original hardware everywhere, rust jacking, internal rust jacking, some cement and spalling. This one's going to need 100% refurb. It's not a major train wreck, but you know, the grading needs to be all reinforced. It's all splitting. There's no, the grading is all the internal parts, all original hardware, as you can see here. And all the grading that I ever mentioned to you, that's what it looks like when it's starting, but that's what it becomes when you leave it alone. See how it's all rotted through? Now if anybody steps on that, outside that window, their foot's gonna go through that, trap their foot, break their ankles. It's a lawsuit waiting to happen, but this is what it looks like before. So again, this was never been inspected. Or if it was, whoever gave the certificate was a false certificate, because all the original hardware was never touched. Lead paint, no welding of any kind allowed. Must have an EPA renovator's license to touch this side. And 100% structural, 100% paint. And then again, it ends right here at this dividing line. This dividing line now becomes 24, and that's a different video. Any questions, fire escape engineers? 866-649-0333. This is only about 22.
Load test still may be required by the AHJ. Failed with major repairs. Technical repair report for bidding. Restoration with permit by a fully licensed vendor. Engineer oversight. 3 site visits. Certification with owner liability in lieu of a load test. Fire escape issues. Photos represent what the violations are, not where they are or how many exist. Pass-fail inspection, not technical repair report.